Recording in progress.
Andrew, I remember working with you a couple of years ago on Ironman U. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too.
Andrew, I like that your video's on it. It's kind of fun. Brian, way to join the video. I like it. Dave, shout out to you. Look at everyone doing the video now. Okay, we're gonna give it like a few minutes and let other people get on. We have about 25 on right now. Feel free to turn on your video if you want, and we can all dialogue together. If you don't want to, completely understand. And we'll get going.
We've been talking about doing this for a while.
All right, we'll go ahead and kick this off. My name is Hope Smith, and I think you guys remember me. I used to be Hope Graham. I recently got married, and a lot of you should know me from recertification or just generally working in the coaching department for quite some time now. I know I recognize so many of your faces, and it's really exciting to see you guys. I don't get to see you enough. So today we're going to have just a happy hour, kind of informal. As you'll see, all of our staff is on the call. And we really want you guys to talk to us. We want to tell you what's going on. And then we want to hear from you guys. So just a few kind of ground rules as we get going. Please mute yourself unless you're talking. That dog talking in the or barking in the background or that echo, I mean, it can get a little distracting for everyone. So we just appreciate it. And then if you want to turn your camera on, we'd love to see faces. We'd love to talk directly to you. But if you don't want to, no big deal. And then if you have questions, type them in the chat. And Kolar is going to jump on and she's going to just kind of read them out loud, or you can ask him, but she's going to help mediate for us. So the last thing I want to do is I want to introduce our staff, and I'm going to kind of go around and let everyone talk so you know who are the people emailing you, because there's nothing worse than just a random person emailing you. So I'm Hope Smith, obviously, I just said that. And I've worked in the coaching department for about 5 years now. I used to be Hope Graham. I love all things coaches or coaching. I love all the coaches. I know a lot of you guys, and I thank you for being here today because your opinion is seriously invaluable. Getting to hear what you guys actually think of the programs that are coming out. We can say stuff internally, but your voice actually saying it tenfold to what any of us can just, like me just saying that, they're like, nice, Hope, like way to put that in. But if I'm like, no, Coach Andrew said this, no, Coach Daryl said this, that really gives a lot of grit to what I'm saying and helps a lot. And we do care so much about all your feedback. If you love something, I want to know. If you don't like something, I want to know. We really want to make this a valuable program to you. So all feedback is important. So with that said, the first thing I'm going to do is introduce a new staff member of ours named Elena Davis. So Elena, if you want to unmute yourself and tell us just like a bit about yourself, that'd be awesome.
Hi, my name is Elena. I'm here and I'm now taking coaches with Hope. So I will be probably emailing and calling a lot of you. I feel a few of you have talked to me on the phone from now. I'm currently in Missouri. I'm moving to Colorado in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. And that's really all I have going on. So I'm really excited to work with all of you and to talk to you, and always feel free to message me if you need anything.
Awesome. Okay. And then I'm sure a lot of you know her, but she's going to formally introduce as USAT staff. Liz, want to jump on and introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, I have been fortunate to work with so many of you in my past life at Ironman on Ironman U. It's so great. I know it's so great to see all your faces. I'm so excited to be with USA Triathlon and helping our customer service team really elevate your experience with our organization. So we're super excited you're all here.
Thanks, Liz. And then next up, Melissa Otterbein. She's from the coaching department. So Melissa, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Recognize a couple names on here. I had the privilege of coming back along with Tim Yount from Duathlon Nationals. It was great to meet some coaches as well as our athletes who participated. I've been with USA Triathlon since August of 2019, and I'm also a USA Triathlon Level 2 coach and have experience coaching collegiate clubs. So coaching's really at the ethos of what I do. And I'm also really excited to hear feedback from you all. I'm always available, would love your feedback for ideas for continuing education, which is where I spend a lot of my day-to-day time. So I'll put my email in the chat, and thanks for the opportunity to be on this call and looking forward to chatting together.
Andy, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, hey everybody, Andy Horn. I'm the constituents relationship senior manager, and so I mostly help a little bit more on the race director side of things, but specifically when it comes to supporting you guys and the coaching team, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have when it comes to insurance. So specifically, if you guys are wondering about coverage or your clinics and things like that, I'm your guy there, so don't hesitate to reach out and we'll be able to get you guys all the answers that you need.
And an amazing face, but one you guys might not know is Sam. So Sam has been here for forever and is honestly like such a rock star, and you guys should know her. So I'm so excited she's going to talk today. You guys probably don't know her. So Sam, do you want to kind of say what you do at USAT, because she's awesome, and then like what we're going to do today?
Well, thank you for that wonderful opening. Hi, everyone. My name's Sam, and I have been with USAT for 13 years now, doing various different things with the organization. And most recently, about 2 years ago, I moved over onto the IT projects side. And so we've, in that time, pushed out a few different projects. The most exciting of which is going to be our new membership system. And we hope to continue driving value for all of you through different builds.
Tim, do you want to jump in and introduce yourself next?
Did you say Tim or Kim?
Tim, and then I decided Tim.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Yount. I'm the Chief Sport Development Officer for USA Triathlon, and been fortunate to be with the organization for a very long time. And I've actually gotten to know
it's pretty good.
Whether it be through Team USA or through conferences or clinics or summits or seminars or whatever that is that we have. The part that I get to play is that the coaching business falls under my portfolio. And so I get to talk a lot about coaching every day with our team, which is an incredible team, and others within the organization also work within the coaching education realm. So if you are ever in town, or if I'm ever in your town, we will hook up, we'll go for a ride, we'll have some great conversation. We'll eat nuts and drink water and have a great view of probably your ocean views or your high cliffs you have hanging over some beautiful vista, which many of you live in these great places. So I'm just really glad to be part of this call and hope you guys find some value from what you will hear today.
All right, and last but not least, and then also we're going to let him speak, is Rocky Harris, and he's our CEO, and he's going to go ahead and kick off our call today. So Rocky, take it away.
Thanks, Hope. Thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate that, and thanks to all the coaches for being here. Daryl, I'm so envious of you're like laying in bed right now. Like that is like, yeah, where many of us want to be. But I'm kind of disappointed. I don't see a lot of beers for this happy hour. I'm at work, so I can't have one here. Oh, there we go. Oh no, Diet Coke. That doesn't count. But maybe next time we'll have a real happy hour in person. And I see you driving, John, so I don't want you drinking. But the rest of you, next time we got to have real beers together, have a good time together. So, thanks for joining us. I'm really happy we're able to pull this together. And as some of you know, my dad's a coach. And so I saw firsthand the value of coaches and how they impacted lives and helped athletes fulfill their goals. And it's just that the household I grew up in was a coach's household, and all of you as coaches know what that's like. I always joke that I grew up watching game film and practice film instead of sitcoms. And, when I was little and growing up, my parents always joked that I got in a 3-point stance. My dad was a football and track coach before I could crawl or walk even. So But coaching was just a big part of my life, and I really saw the value in what coaches do for everyone, really, for the community, for athletes. But I do think that looking at how hard my dad worked and how many challenges he faced, my dad always felt like he was working harder to deal with administrators and governing bodies and others than he was coaching. So part of my motivation for getting into sports in the first place, in the sports business, was to lessen those barriers so coaches can focus on being really just successful coaches. And I had a lot of success doing that in the NFL and Major League Soccer and in collegiate athletics, but we still have a lot of work to do to get that right at USA Triathlon, and that's why we're here. We're trying to ask you, all right, now Daryl's stepping up a little bit. All right, that's why you're laying down. Hopefully that, 805 too, there we go. All right, that's a good beer. But we just have a lot of work to do here, and that's why we're here to talk with all of you. And I can assure you that we're committed to our certified coaching community. It's really just critically important to the sport, and we all know that. We value it, and again, that's why we're here today. Is one step of many that we're going to take. And so 2020 was difficult for all of us, including our organization. But the one benefit for us is it gave us time to really reevaluate our priorities. And allowed us to really recommit to providing value and enhanced service levels for our coaching community. Every organization that you've been around or worked with or worked for has to prioritize what's important, because we can't try to do everything. And so we're really refocusing our efforts on providing resources, value, and support for our entire community, which are really race directors, clubs, coaches, and our athletes. In order to fulfill that mission, we just have to do a much better job of providing excellent service and enhance our value to our coaches. And so one thing we're doing is we're prioritizing customer service. It's an area I just feel like we haven't been great at. We've been good, but not great. So we've hired Liz, as you've seen, Kalar, to come in and help us look at this. And the reason why Liz is such an important piece of the team is that she has the right mindset. She's somebody that really wants to over deliver for people. And she's somebody who just, I don't know if she sleeps, because she's working around the clock. And I think to be best in class service organization, you have to have a leader who's committed to it. Tim, if Tim or me, we are. It's in our blood. It's who we are. But we really needed a leader to step up and take on what we view is critically important to our long-term success. And Liz has come in and done that. And she's worked alongside Hope and many others to enhance our customer service team. And I think you're going to see significant changes if you haven't already. And we're just never going to be satisfied until we provide the most value to our coaching community. We're currently evaluating how to provide that value. And that's again, the purpose for this call. We have a great team with Melissa, John, Brad, and many others that wake up every day with the focus of improving our coaches' experience, making your certification more valuable. But we've just scratched the surface. We know that there's we have a lot of room to grow, and it's something that, quite frankly, since I got here 3+ years ago, I just haven't been satisfied with it. Tim knows this. I probably gripe about how what we do with our coaches most. I know it's close to home for me because of my dad, but I still just don't think we're doing a good enough job. And I'm somebody who just doesn't quit until we become great at things. And right now we're just good. And that's not good enough for me. And so, part of creating value for you is providing best in class resources, and including sharing best practices and developing CUs and other educational, tools that are actually useful, not just something you have to click and do, but you're like actually learning something from it to be a better coach or be a better business owner. We're also promoting the benefits of hiring a coach to our members. If you've looked lately or noticed, it's what we've been really focused on is really 3 messages. These are the 3 messages. If we do anything, it's to find a club, hire a coach, and register for a race, because that will impact our sport most. And you'll see over time, if you haven't already, that that's something you're going to hear from us over and over and over again. We've spent the last few years improving our systems and technology, including our membership system. And my team will talk a little bit about that today and talk you through that. And next year, we're going to launch a new website and app to make it easier to find a club, hire a coach, and register for a race, since that's what we're really focused on. And so, as we talk through today, I can assure you that we're making it a continued point of emphasis to find creative, relevant, and effective ways to help you promote your businesses and grow your client base. Whether that's better promotions to our members for us to do, increased visibility in the new membership hub that you'll hear about today, and really just promoting the value of hiring a coach. And I know this as an athlete for myself, as a triathlete, is when I finally decided to hire a coach, I was one of those stubborn athletes early on that tried to do it all on my own. And what I found is it was really complicated. Most of my time was spent putting these plans together that were just absolutely terrible. They didn't make me better. They just kind of made me check boxes. And I always felt like I wasn't doing the right thing. And I actually wasn't. And when I hired a coach, I think Tim knows this, I carved maybe, I think 3 minutes off my 5K, which is unbelievable. And I just saw that it made me focus on just being an athlete and not focus on trying to manage my schedule and do everything else. So I saw for myself how important it was for me to hire a coach. And that's really what we're out there pushing right now. So, we really want to share information with you about what we're doing, but also have you provide constructive feedback and ideas for the future. And this isn't for us to defend ourselves or decisions we made in the past. It's really for us just to listen and hear and try to come up with, again, constructive feedback about the future, what we need to do going forward, not something that happened 23 years ago when Tim was you're an intern here 32 years ago, right, Tim? So yeah, you've been here 32 years, not 23. That's just mean to take off those 9 years. I apologize for that. But we really want to look forward. That's the key here. And just know, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm just never going to be satisfied until we create the most valuable coaching certification of any sport across the world, not just here in America. And as I said before, we have a long way to go. But I'm hoping this is one step in the right direction. So I'm just happy to be here and join you. And anyone who works with me, any of you who I've worked with, know that you can get a hold of me directly. You don't have to go through, like, I don't have handlers. I hope you know that. It would be ridiculous if I did, but I'm rocky.harris@usatriathlon.org. Hit me up anytime. I respond to emails. I respond to every email, even for those who like to yell at me with all caps and all that stuff. I'm good with that. I understand it. I can take it well. But just know that this is, that we understand where we're at. And we understand what we need to do to improve. And the way that we feel that the best way to do that is not to talk about everything we're doing bad and, and complain about ourselves and do all the things that a lot of bad organizations do. It's to really open ourselves up, to just be totally transparent, be vulnerable, and just allow us to get good, positive feedback from you about what we need to do to get better. And I can tell you that, we can't do everything because, we're a very small organization, but there are so many things that we can do to improve your experience and make it more value to be a certified coach with us. So that's all I really have to say, but I'll hang on for a little while. I do have to go pick up my daughter at swim practice in 32 minutes from now. So I'll sign off and call in so I can listen to the rest of the call. Thanks, everyone.
Rocky, do you want to real quick talk about return to racing before you get off?
Yeah. So we've spent, well, I'll be on for a little while. I'll be listening in, but yeah, so we've obviously spent a lot of time putting tools and resources together to get athletes back to racing, to help race directors produce safe races, and to help even coaches and clubs safely train their athletes. And we've been really excited to see that these tools have really been beneficial to getting races back on the calendar, including things like not just our standards and our guidelines and recommendations that we didn't do in isolation, by the way. I always say that we shouldn't do anything in Colorado Springs because while we're experts at certain things, we have to talk to and work with the people on the ground. So we worked with medical experts, race directors, coaches, clubs across the country to build out what we have. But what I think is most rewarding and for us makes us really know that our work is valuable is that there are right now 3,500 or so races on the calendar. And at least half of them were because the local communities felt very comfortable that we as the governing body had the right safe precautions in order, that we had worked with the right authorities, and that we basically made sure that these races were safe for our athletes. And so we've even done things like, I almost feel like I'm a government affairs or like a lobbyist, because I've spent the last 3 months talking to city managers and writing letters, and because our goal is to get safe races back on the calendar and help our race directors produce safe races. Because fortunately for our sport, it is a participatory sport, not necessarily a fan sport, which is why I became a triathlete and why I love the sport, is we get to actually go out and participate and play the game, not just watch it. But with that comes a lot of work on our side to make sure they're safe. So it's been so rewarding again for us to see races come back, because we know that helps your business. We know that helps clubs. We know that helps the entire sport. And so we're right now, we're really pleased to see that they're coming back. But we also want to hear from you, because while races are coming back, while we know they can be produced safely, we need to keep getting better at this and make sure that whether it's a pandemic or anything, that we're the leader in resources. So we need to hear from our coaching community to make sure what resources we have that are useful. But we've heard across the board that our Return to Racing initiative that we launched last, I think May, a year ago almost, has been really useful to our entire community. Anything else you want me to hit on, Hope?
No, just which daughter are you picking up from swim?
You know who it is. So Hope knows this, and I love my entire staff, but Hope's always held a close place in my heart because her name's Hope Elizabeth, and my oldest daughter's name is Hope Elizabeth. So although that's just purely luck, you do get, there's a little favoritism there. No HR person's on this call, so I can say that. Oh, it's recorded though. Delete that part.
Okay, that's it. That's all. Thank you, Rocky. Okay, next up, I'm just like so excited for you guys to hear this. Sam is going to introduce our new membership hub. And I already saw someone in the comments, and Mike, shout out to you, great question. We're going to talk about the Find a Coach system, which lives in our new membership hub, which Sam is going to introduce. And I know, like, I have heard you guys for years talk about the Find a Coach system, and I've been driving it home because it is like, that's where you guys get your clients. And it is so important that we get that right. So I think you guys are going to be pretty pleased with what this is going to look like and how it's going to unveil. So Sam's going to hop on next and kind of talk about when this is like what's to come and what to expect.
All right, thank you. So one of the things that USAT has been doing over the last few years is heavily investing in our technology. And this is just the latest project that we have been working on. I think it's definitely going to elevate us and get us out of some of the appearance issues that we've had in the past where we look like we're still stuck in the early 2000s. We're really happy with the design, but more importantly, we're happy with the functions. One thing to note is that we are going to continue investing in technology, and this is just phase one, and phase one was focused on all of the really strong must-haves. When I heard that you guys were going into like 5 different places to do different things, that was one of our concerns. We want to really start pulling everything into one area so you log in and you have access to everything. We'll get into details on that, but for now, I'm just going to share my screen and show you guys the new dashboard and some of the new functionality that is going to be in the new system. And then we'll talk about phase 2, which is sort of still nebulous. We're kind of tossing around ideas and would love to hear from you. If not in this meeting, then after the meeting, if you guys have ideas, we are completely open to those. And so just want you guys to know that. Okay, so without further ado, this is our new membership system. So when somebody logs in, they are going to land on this dashboard, and this dashboard really controls everything for them. We did place the Find a Coach or the My Coach function on their dashboard because we really want to drive that the coaches are here to support them. You will notice that we also have this weekly training tips, and this is something that we want to start engaging coaches on. All of your comments, if there's something that you do want to contribute, that can go to coaching@usatriathlon.org. Liz and Hope and team will be working with you guys to kind of schedule out and get your name out there through this training tips area. The most important thing probably is the Find a Coach function. And this is the new design for it. We did want to highlight specialties and disciplines that you work with. So as you guys fill out information, it will show up on here. We are importing everything from the old system into the new system, but you will have the ability to go in and edit. I am going to click on one of our test accounts. Just so you guys know, this is my dog. His name was Cage. but we're going to have different areas where you can fill in information. So up here is going to be a bio section. You can put any information you want in there. Services, background, contact information. And again, we are going to list out your disciplines and your specialties and then the coaching levels that you have completed. On this page, it'll show your location and pretty much everything that we hope will help people connect with you. We do have functions in here. So somebody types in a zip code, it'll pull back information. People can then filter it down to people who specialize in different areas. The additional function that we are implementing in here, sorry, is this coach manager page. And this is where you will go in and you will edit your information, and it's in real time. Before, I believe that we had some lag in how quickly your information updated, and we wanted to get rid of it. So in here, you can put your contact information, again, coaching bio, coaching background, and coaching services. If you do work with all of these, we have a select all so that you can indicate that. The only thing that you can't change is your coaching levels, because those are controlled obviously through your testing. All right. The big thing though is in regards to all those different areas that you've had to log into to do different things. We have created the certifications area. And in here, you will see 3 of the main things, which are your safe sport, your background check, and then we're going to have the ability for you to update and upload information for your first aid, so that it's all controlled through here. We chose to start with safe sport and background because those are security things. But in phase 2, we are going to be investigating linking in like our LMS. Because again, we want to get to one spot for you guys to go instead of having multiple areas. Okay, I am going to stop sharing my screen. I know I went through that really quickly. I didn't want to take up the entire meeting because trust me, I could talk about the membership system all day long. I love it. I think that we're really going to be driving value.
So Sam, we do have a couple of questions for you that are coming in, if I can just jump in. One of our coaches whose last name begins with a V wants to make sure that she's not the last person in the rotation. And the suggestion was that we rotate the coaches when somebody logs in, we go through some sort of rotating cadence.
Okay, I can look at randomizing the coaches that are returned in a search. That actually is a really great idea.
See, Terry, you get brownie points for that one. Good for you. Anybody who has a last name that begins with a V gets that. And then the other question was this request to add in terms of specialties, masters athletes, which I think is I think that's a really interesting option too. A lot of our more seasoned athletes, they have different needs from a coaching perspective. So Sam, I think that would be awesome if we could add that there too. And then Reggie wants to know if there'll be a limit on the number of characters for bio and services section.
There are no limits. We wanted you to be able to present your story in whatever way that you felt was necessary and what works for you. So we did not put any limits on there. In regards to adding a master's class, that's easy enough. We built this so that we on the admin side, not the tech side, control what options are available. So if there are things that you are specializing in that you think would be beneficial, if there's other things that people specialize in, we can continue adding to that list pretty regularly.
We have another question too, where Jennifer suggests that level 2 coaches be listed above level 1 and when they're searching by state, which I think is an interesting idea because, you know, we have coaches that have sort of gone the extra mile to become stronger and go through the extra curriculum. So I don't know if that's possible, Sam, to do that.
So I think that's more of a business decision that USAT needs to make as a whole. But technologically, yes, it is possible for us to prioritize some people over others, and we can look at implementing that. Just kind of have to have an internal powwow on how that would work. One of the other functions that we've talked about is being able to potentially like highlight a coach, and that may be where we put level twos as kind of in a highlighted area or something like that. But we can definitely talk about how we can draw more value to the level two group.
And then Mike, maybe you can unmute yourself and give us a little bit more detail, but Mike said he's been having issues setting up his club and he's been waiting for the launch. So Mike, if you could share with us what those issues are, we'll see if they will be addressed as part of this. We lose you, Mike?
No, you did not.
Okay,
Sorry
okay.
about that. I double clicked instead of single clicked. First, I wanted the suggestion of filtering the level 1, level 2 coaches with level 2s on top. I wanted to bring something that immediately came to my attention. I'm a new coach, so I have no possibility for at least 2 years to become a level 2 coach, because I've recently just received my level 1 certification. That would potentially eliminate me from getting clients if there were 2 pages of level 2 coaches above me, kind of like a Google search. Everybody clicks on the first link that they come to or the second link. That's how that would wind up working for me. I would suggest having options to filter out level 1, level 2 coaches on the left-hand side of the screen that we were shown, that Sam was showing us, so that people had the option, and I didn't get dropped to the bottom because I'm a new coach. Okay, we go on. I'm sorry?
That's a great perspective, and that is why we would definitely need to talk about these things internally.
Right. So just wanted to voice that. Thank you. If also the coaching, setting up a new club, being a new coach, I'm also setting up my club. I have a club with a pretty good number of members in it. I would like to have that on USAT as well. One of the things like Safe Sport is not linking back. My Safe Sport certification does not link back. So it's saying that it's still pending. The adding a club, there's no option because I am a coach. I do get a free club registration. There's no option for me to set up a free club registration. It gives me only options to go ahead and pay for it. Those are a couple things that kind of caused a little bit of confusion for me at one time. I did send an email off a few weeks ago, maybe even 6 weeks now, that they did say there will be things that are being addressed with that interface. So I was just curious as to what might have been addressed or what might still be pending for a phase 2 launch.
Yeah, so Mike, I do think that this is something I'd like to talk to you a little bit more on, maybe after this call or tomorrow if you're available. But in terms of setting up a pre-club, are you talking about like just prepping a club without purchasing, or was there something else that you were looking for?
So my understanding is that as a coach, we get an annual club membership. The $50 club membership is part of our certification. So I wanted to take advantage of that.
Got it. Okay, so for that, we actually have a function where we just need to get you a discount that you can use.
Okay.
The discount function of our system will definitely be launching with our membership system.
Great.
So we can go in and give you a discount. You would put that discount in on the checkout page, and it will zero out the balance and allow you to continue registration.
Okay, fantastic. Good. Thank you.
And then in regards to, you said it's not possible to add a club. Is that also in regards to just this payment issue?
Sorry, muted myself. Yes, it is regards to the payment issue.
Okay, so then the next part that you talked about was Safe Sport not linking.
Right.
So with Safe Sport, there's a couple things that we have to take into account. If you've already taken your Safe Sport training, then we just need to enter a record into our database with that information. And when we launch the new system, we will be inputting all those records for people who have already completed. It'll show your expiration date, and about 30 days out from when your Safe Sport expires, you'll get a message on your dashboard stating that you need to renew your Safe Sport. So it sounds like that's what we need to do for you. If you complete it due to another sport, like say you also coach for USA Hockey, in that case, we would need, and you take your Safe Sport training through USA Hockey, we don't want you to have to do it again. So we would still need you to provide a record to us, just showing that you've completed it, and we can do a manual entry on that.
Okay.
If you go through our system and you click on the Get Started link, it will automatically log you into the training that you need to complete. And we'll get an automated response back from SafeSport once you've taken the test and passed. And then that would just update your record automatically.
Okay, because I had to take Safe Sport as part of my certification process.
Okay.
And it needs to be renewed, I believe, on an annual basis. So if not every other year.
Correct. SafeSport has 4 tests that they require before they recycle. The first one is, they call it SafeSport Trained. That is your 2-hour session, which is the longest one. And then annual, you have refresher 1, 2, and 3. They're about, I think, 30-minute refresher courses that you need to do each year. You would do refresher 1 for the year after you complete, and then refresher 2, 3. After you've completed refresher 3, unless they offer refresher 4, then you would cycle back to the Safe Sport Trained and need to do the 2-hour course again.
Okay.
But again, that would be like every 4th year as things stand right now.
Okay, thank you.
So Sam, we have a ton of questions coming in. Mark, I think, was interested in, can we include other coaching certifications from other NGBs like USA Cycling, US Swimming, Ironman U? Is that a possibility for us to have a checkbox in their profiles for those?
So that becomes a little bit more challenging. We would need to really start looking at connecting with the other national governing bodies if we were to do something like that. It has not been on our radar to kind of pull in all of your certifications from all of the different NGBs. But if it's something that you guys feel is really strongly needed, we can start looking at scope and figure out how that could work into things.
And you should just email us at coaches if you have a strong opinion one way or another. And actually, when we complete this sort of overview, please feel free to send us your ideas if you don't want to put them here, and it will give us a chance to kind of go through a punch list with Sam. Andrew Murphy.
Real quick before you go forward.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really good idea, because it's going to show depth and scope of what the coach is doing, right? So not just a triathlon coach, but coaches that can support other areas that other people know might have interest in. So I really like that idea. Sorry, Liz.
No problem. I agree.
Tim's thumbs up.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. Mark, you got that one. Andrew would like to know if there's places to add other certifications, such as officials and race director in the coaching profile.
So those are going to have kind of their own area. We focused on getting the coaching function up and running, but we will have certified officials and we will have certified race directors, but they're probably each going to have their own area because they're going to have different requirements that have to be fulfilled. Now, what that means though, is if you had to do Safe Sport for officials or for race directors, you're not going to have to do it 3 times. Once you've connected through the system, it'll just note that for all of your certifications that you would have.
And then there's another question, and I think for coaches whose certification expires at the end of June, the question is, do we hold off until after the new membership launch? And I mean, from our perspective, we'd like to see you get it done as soon as possible, so we don't have a whole bunch of coaches coming in the 11th hour that the 3 of us have to process. And all of that information would carry over, correct, Sam, upon the launch?
Yeah, so if you complete your training through the LMS, Hope and Elena and other staff members will be recording that into the new system. If you do your Safe Sport, one thing to note, Safe Sport is also changing their systems. They are going from 7-7 Media, which was an outside built system, to more of an internally built system. And they're making that change here within like the next week or something. So if you've started your Safe Sport training but haven't completed it, you may want to do that. Otherwise, you could get a little bit of an interruption and potentially just have to restart the class if they've switched you over already. That is happening, I believe, this week, but it should hopefully have just minimal impact.
And Christy, I think maybe Sam answered your question. She just wanted to make sure that the system would say when the different certifications would expire, and that's the way it's been designed. Thank you, Terry, for being excited and supportive of our program. We're very excited about it as well. Andrew wants to know if they can add non-USAT certifications to their profiles themselves. So, I mean, Andrew, are you talking about putting it in your bio and listing it in your bio as an option?
Yes, exactly. Just wondering, can we just list other certifications without?
Andrew, I'm so sorry, we can't hear you.
I can,
how's that? Is that
saying,
better?
can you list other certifications? Is that right?
Yes, can we just list them in the bio, not necessarily having a checklist of things to check off?
Correct. You have complete access to put whatever information you want in that bio form or in your services form. Like we didn't want to limit that, so you can list that if you'd like. Now, in regards to maybe having a separate certifications area, we can look at building that if it would help call that out for you.
Okay, that's great, Sam. I think that might address and actually kind of keep it cleaner if we can do that, especially if people there's a way to sort by those other certifications as well. I think that would be really useful. Dave is echoing the interest in somehow highlighting the different levels. So I think noted, Dave. I think Sam's got that on her list, and we're going to look for additional feedback from you. Jennifer wants to know about whether or not it's possible to list when you got your first certification, like certified, using the term certified since, to give people an idea of how long the coach has been coaching for prospective clients.
Yeah, so I think that would probably be part of the bio if you want it to be a searchable field. Again, that's just a field that we'd have to build in, which is completely doable. Is that what you're looking for, is to make it searchable, or were you wanting something different?
I don't know if she's muted.
Okay.
Well, we can Jennifer, did you want it to be searchable, or were you okay with it just being in your profile?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the old system right now, and I searched on Missouri. That's where I live. And I see all the coaches that are listed, and it gives name, level, specialty, discipline, location. So I guess those must be the 5 search fields.
Mm-hmm.
So I see her point that, I could just put it in my bio information, but I guess I just thought that's useful to people to know how long you've been coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Let's see, Sergio, would be a good idea to explain how easily on the dashboard, what is the difference between the levels? So maybe some sort of an explanation of what level 1, level 2, and level 3 mean. A simple explanation that could be very useful. I think that's a great idea, Sergio. And Noah has commented, I would like to include different levels because the majority of the coaches are level 1. So, I mean, I think there seems to be a bit of a consensus on being able to identify the levels of the coaches.
Yep.
Jake says it comes down to skin in the game. Yes, keep the filters for L2 and L3. So there seems to be a lot of the consensus is building for that approach. Jennifer wants to know when this will launch. Jennifer, we're launching on June 2nd. And we've been sort of notifying coaches and race directors and are beginning to notify members now that this is coming. And Sam, maybe after we get through these questions, you might just sort of talk through the claiming of your account process,
Okay.
because they might be able to tell their clients about how to do that, because I think that could be an area where people have some questions.
I'm just gonna jump in really fast. We want to make sure we get any other questions that they have besides the membership system in. So if Liz wants to speak to one more question, Sam, if you want to final any thoughts, and then if coaches, if you have questions that are not in the membership system, but you want your voice heard, start typing those now and we'll get to them on this next segment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, again, I think there's just a lot of consensus about certifications, wanting to put all their certifications, wanting to highlight the levels. And I certainly understand that. I mean, you guys put a lot of work into improving your coaching expertise, and I think that's great to be able to highlight it there. So we will definitely work on that. And I'm just going through, there's so many more questions about that. USAT members writing testimonials. So Joe actually suggested it's kind of like a Yelp, right, Joe? I think is what you're thinking. So there's a possibility for clients to go in and write testimonials about their coaches. I think that's an interesting concept too.
Yeah, so the challenge that we face with testimonials or reviews is and we've been considering this for events, we've been considering it for race directors, and the challenge that we run into is, as lovely as a community as we have, there's a lot of controls that have to be put in place to make sure that language is appropriate and nobody's using abusive language, and having somebody available to review it. We don't want to put anything out there that is harmful to anyone in the community. And since we have both underage athletes, older athletes, we range the full spectrum. There's just a lot of precaution that has to be put in place to make sure that inappropriate terminology does not get put out there. And the same thing with if we allowed people to post photos. We attempted that once a few years ago, and you would not believe some of the photos people tried posting. So it's one of those things that, yes, we would love to do it. We just have to figure out how to automate a process that can check for inappropriate behavior. And
hey, Liz.
You're on mute. Sorry,
Liz.
Yes.
This is John Rhodes. Sorry, I'm driving. Where they have this CPR, first aid, and safe sport, is it possible to even just put a link there to the training system so that we don't have to remember that address?
I need to gather a little bit more information on that. I don't know if that's a national, like one link works for everyone, or if it's more regional. But we can look into adding that as a link, as well as giving you the upload option. If they have the ability to integrate, it may be something that we would look to integrate, but I think with the larger governing bodies, sometimes that's not available.
Okay, great. I think we're pretty much through most of the questions. And again, if you could just email us at coaching@usatriathlon.org. You have Hope, Elena, and I will all see those. I think, Sam, did you want to just really quickly walk through the process for claiming an account so they understand how to reinforce that to your clients? And then Hope, maybe we just then open up to some additional questions?
Okay, so one of the important things to note here is we are completely switching our systems. We didn't do just a facelift. We are importing data from our old system into the new system. But one of the things that we can't import are people's passwords because those are always encrypted for security reasons. And so what we did is we're implementing a claims process. And this basically will send an email out to everyone. And actually, let me back up here for just a moment. We're switching from having a system that allows multiple people to have the same email to a system that requires one email per person. That's kind of standard across all of our marketing tools, and it's standard pretty much in almost every industry. And so the person who claims the email, they're going to, gosh, I'm muddling this. Sorry. I wasn't prepared for this one, Liz. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, we can, it's okay.
No,
It's
I got
okay.
it. So what will happen is once we decide that we're going live and everything's ready to go, we're going to send an email out to all of our annual members that says, hey, go and claim your account. They're going to click on an encrypted link that then takes them to a page that lists every profile that's currently associated to that email address so that they can indicate, yes, this is me, this is an account I manage, or no, I don't know who this person is. They'll do that with each of the profiles. They'll then create a username and password and set up the account. When they do that, it's going to start creating family accounts for them. So that's another major change of the system is people will now be able to manage their families from one login. So the first time they'll have to link their children's profile to their parent account or their husband's account to the wife or wife to husband, whatever the case may be. But then once they log into the system, they can manage all of those people without having to remember everybody's username and password. So this claims process allows them to start that process.
That's great. Thank you, Sam. I think we're pretty much moving into questions now about the coaching pathway and the coursework and what this group would like to see on a go forward basis. Christy actually mentioned that there's a lot of chatter on Facebook groups about the value of continuing to hold a USAT coaching certification. I'm wondering if John or Melissa or Tim could speak to that question and why there is value in recertification and why there is value in being part of USA Triathlon. Do you want to take that, Tim? Or Melissa, either one of you?
I was actually kicking off mute. Sorry, I'm first time using Zoom, so I'm kind of figuring this out real quick. It's interesting, the number of years that we've had coach certification. It goes back to 1997 when we first started having the conversation. It seems to be the really the critical high level question of certification, recertification. What part do we play? How do we structure it? Can it carry value? One of the things that we did this year is we took a long look at recertification and said, what do we need to do around recertification? How about CEUs? Shift to 15 to 12. How about number of USAT CEUs? Shifting to 8. And people are like, well, I'm paying more money. One of the things that we feel we need to do is to be an information leader, right? To be a content leader, to be a coaching information leader. And we have a team now that can do that. We have a staff that has the insights and expertise. We have a lot of you who can do various presentations for us that are going to be so critical. We have that expertise at the level 1, level 2, and level 3 areas. For us to give that up and say we're going to allow for CEUs to be offered just for content period and not really lean on what we're trying to create as a company, I think is kind of removing ourselves from being a key player and really listen to you and what content you want to see and hear. We have gone through a process the last couple of weeks to look at all the things that other companies and other groups are doing to say, is it something we should add or consider? Is it something that we feel we can do? What time frame does it look like we can add it? And so we're going to continue to build great content. We're going to continue to listen to you on what content is missing and fill those gaps. So when it comes to recertification, it's a high priority. It's a very important area of our business. And we're going to continue to make great strides in that going forward. So don't lose faith. Christy, you work with us very closely. Don't lose faith. If people are losing faith, they shouldn't. They need to come back to us and let us know where those gaps are, and we will fill them with great people, great content to move forward.
Thanks, Tim. I want to clarify my question. I do not see, I see the value in recertification. I see chatter from other coaches, looking for input about why should I recertify? It's just, I'm paying money for CEUs. I'm not getting any value. I'm not educating myself any further. So the core of my question is, I think there are some coaches who recertify and just, try and find the easiest pathway to get to that certification, just so they can check the box and remain certified. Other coaches look at it as an opportunity to actually, learn something and build their business and build their knowledge. And I think, so my question was, it does USA, and I don't know if you can answer this fully, like, is there a retention strategy with USA Triathlon to, what are the tactics that USAT is using to keep coaches who are certified in the system certified? And then secondarily to that, telling athletes the value of having a certified coach, not just a coach, so that, there is value in having a certification after your name, regardless if it's level 1, 2, 3, whatever, but that, there's this broader support and reason to go through that certification process every 2 years.
Yeah, matter of fact, and I've got a hand to Hope. I'll tell you, when it comes to recert percentages, she is really, really good. She has hit 80% the last 2 years. And what we are doing is, I won't call it a rebrand, but we're kind of rebranding coaching certification to the extent that we're listening, we're following up, we're doing what we need to do to move forward. The pathway is a really great step to identifying what the path can be for coaches who are trying to get questions answered about, what do I do? What should I consider? Where can I go? What kind of education am I going to get along the way? So when we look at what we're trying to do right now, it's looking at the journey that the different coaches can take, right? Not every journey is going to be the same. You have all interests that you want to support. You have coaching that you want to do at various levels. But what we're needing to do is to know those journeys, listen to those journeys, make sure that we make the connections with our education so those pathways are much easier. There's not roadblocks, there's not frustration, there's not lack of interest in what we're trying to do around those things. So when you look at area of focus and what we're doing around that, we look at workshops and things we're doing around that. When you look at what we've done with the master coach, it's going to be an ultimate build, the highest possible level. We're taking that in consideration as well. Looking at the entry points for level 1 and making sure that there is that impetus for the coach to say, I really want to work towards my level 2 certification. Because a lot of times people are satisfied just staying at L1, right? And maybe for some that's fine. But if we create the right program, they're going to want more education. They're going to want different types of things they can learn. And they can do that through the process that we've established with the coaching pathway.
Thanks, Tim. I'm hoping that answered your question. Christy, there's so many great pieces of feedback coming in, Tim, on CEUs and innovation and staying on top of what's happening in the coaching world. I don't know, John, if you or Melissa want to talk a little bit about what your plans are for education and how we bring those new technologies and concepts to our coaching education team.
I can chime in. I actually just came back from Duathlon Nationals, where we had an in-person running workshop that focused on the most recent literature. We pulled literature that was even published just within the past 2 months and how it applies to our coaching. So our goal is to make not only, again, COVID is certainly a consideration, but when possible, we're trying to offer more hands-on skills-based workshops. We also had a cycling and swim workshop. And of course, we know we span several states, several different time zones. So in person is not always feasible, but we do want to put that on your radar, that coach connections and that time together to learn in a skills-based environment where you're practicing a specific skill that you can directly apply to your coaching is a goal and is important to all USAT staff. So I want to mention not only our workshops, but Some folks may understand or think they may understand the areas of focus. It's really a chance for you to, if you're a level 1 coach, get the training you would need to have a youth and junior or para triathlon or long course or short course certification. And that's something you can use toward a level 2. So I just want to share that these are really in-depth courses spanning the whole day. And it's essentially those areas of courses, areas the focus courses are what would have been a part of kind of a level 1 youth and junior. So we think that there's strong value behind those courses as well. So just want to keep in mind that we will be offering some in-person opportunities as things continue to shift with the COVID pandemic, including some workshops even at youth and junior nationals. So and we're always open to feedback. So again, our emails have been in the chat. So if there is a topic, if there is a particular area you think has been missing, let us know. We want to provide current and valuable resources.
Thank you,
Another,
Melissa.
another point I want to bring up real quick, Liz, that was something Melissa said that made me think of this. And I think, Terry, you kind of touched on it a little bit, is that who are the best advocates for what it is that's happening with a new feel, new look of anything? Maybe you rebrand your own business. It's the people that are doing it or taking it, the athletes or whomever. So if you guys happen to go through a level 1 area of focus and you really like it, tell people, get on social media and talk about it. The athletes should talk about it. There was a really good question that came in about, it always seems to be athletes looking for coaching when they're starting to look at long course and maybe the ultra distance, that you can really get great benefit at that first step in sprint level. Maybe it's super sprint now that we're moving into super sprint. Maybe it's going to be the different disciplines we're creating with aqua bike and aquathlon, some of those things. This sport is accelerating at a pace. Matter of fact, it is probably the most exciting time you could ever be affiliated with our sport because there's so many things happening and all of them very positive. That part of the advocacy is you guys talking about it. We'll work with the athletes and talking about what they're looking for, making those connections, talking about maybe the single sport athletes can give us additional input about what's happening within the sport, right? What's happening within running? What's happening within cycling? How about what's happening within swimming? And making certain that we have that cross collaboration with these federations who are our sister organizations to make sure too that we can come back to our people and start talking about some of the things that maybe haven't been covered in the past are important for us to cover moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, Tim. And I think, Andrew, I think you're speaking to Andrew's point. And, one of the things, because we also spend quite a bit of time talking with our race directors, is the lament that many of our grassroots organizers feel that everyone just thinks triathlon is long course and there's no reinforcing of the value of the shorter distances. And many athletes don't feel that they're not elite, so therefore they shouldn't hire a coach. And one of the things that I've talked with our communications team about is more storytelling around, your rank and file age grouper that hires a coach just because they want to lose weight and they're using a triathlon to do it for the first time. More bringing it down to more of a personalized level, that coaching is not just for elite athletes, coaching is for everybody. And, even if you're getting started in the sport, when I got started in the sport, I was working extraordinary amount of hours, and my coach spent the entire time trying to manage my schedule because I never had time to do anything. Yet I aspired to be able to get good enough at the sport where I could, swim 1,000 meters without drowning. And it was a real challenge for him, but he helped balance my life. And I think that type of storytelling to get out there to people who want to enjoy the sport is going to be really good. And I know our communications team is working towards that. I'm trying to go through some of the other, wow, we have so many. Hope, how are we doing for time? Because we have so many questions and feedback coming in right now.
Okay, so we're actually 3 minutes over, but if you guys are okay with this, I'm okay letting this go a little bit longer because we want to answer this on the call. The whole team's on. Let's get to it. So if you guys want to hold up some thumbs up, you guys on camera, like 10 minutes more, 20 minutes more, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. What are you thinking? 10? Okay. I see some Oh, no, those are all the fingers. Okay, let's
Oh my gosh. Okay.
minutes more. We'll end in at 5:20 Mountain Time. So if you have final questions, go ahead and get those in.
Okay, so going through the there's lots of discussion. I'm afraid I may be missing some of these questions, but Sergio was clarifying that, you know, maybe a single presentation that a coach that has 2 years to prepare as part of his recertification can be optional. I'm not exactly sure, Sergio, I understand what that idea is. Perhaps you can unmute yourself and kind of share that with us, unless I'm not reading this properly.
Can you hear me? No, actually what I was saying, I find that a lot of people are complaining about the value of a CEO, CEUs, and they had to pay and spend the money. And then my idea was, why don't we offer some free CEUs and maybe make that part of a recertification requirement for, I said level 3 because that's who I am, but could be level 2, level 1, it doesn't matter. And the 2 years is like, well, you have 2 years to prepare a webinar or some kind of presentation that could be of the value of other people, so they can get their CU this way, and they don't have to spend any money, and they can pick what they wanted to hear. And I think it would be very valuable for the coaches to see. And I think in my case, okay, what have I done in the last 2 years that could enhance coaching or was a benefit of athletes of all levels or the triathlon community.
Great. So basically what you're saying is, let's leverage the expertise of our level 2 coaches to build content for our level 1s and make that content available at no cost to people starting out.
Because that would help people to get the CUs they need without having to spend money, especially when, like I think Tim was mentioning and someone was mentioning that there's some CUs that are not really of interest of anyone, but they have to buy it because they need to get the CU units for the recertification. At least if you offer some free, you know, I think at least they're not going to feel in the pocket. They're like, hey, I listened to this one, it was free. Maybe it wasn't what I was expecting, but at least I didn't pay $30 or $40 for it. Because I've been there and be pissed.
I think
with other organizations, Sergio, of course, not USA Triathlon, with other organizations.
Yes, no, USA Triathlon ones, yeah, the other one.
Hey, well, it looks like there's some thumbs up to your idea, Sergio. So I think that's something that we can take back to our education team and to use a Tim, you know, yacht colloquialism, noodle over. So because I think that's an interesting, definitely interesting comments. I think we're kind of at the end of most of the feedback, and we do have this recorded, and we'll go back with the team and make sure that we have addressed everything. Hope, do you have any final comments that you want to make to everyone before we sign off?
Yeah, I'll say one other thing. And if you guys have a burning question, type it in the comments now and we'll grab it before we jump off. Sorry, I'm like reading comments. I wanted to also be sure to remind everyone on this daily training tips that we were talking about with Sam. If you guys have a tip, please send it in. Like, I know some of you have gotten phone calls from me, and I apologize. It's always so weird. I randomly will call people throughout the day and be like, hey, it's Hope from USA Triathlon. And you're like, why are you calling me? I get athletes all the time reaching out to me being like, I need a coach. And a lot of you guys who I've worked with, or I'll even look you guys up in the Find a Coach database or the certification like on my file, and I'll send them your contact info and I'll be like, reach out to this guy or this girl, like they're awesome. So this daily training tip will help because I get reach out from athletes all the time and I'm sending them out to you guys as I get them. But putting you, like, if you have a daily training tip and we can say, hey, you know, Coach Dave said this or Coach Terry said this, that's huge. And the athletes are looking for it. So make sure you put in like any tips. I don't know if you want to tailor them to like beginners or intermediate. I mean, we have athletes from all over the place. So send them in to coaching@usatriathlon.org so I can throw those in the rotation, and really just try it at least once, like push yourself to do it, because the athletes are looking for coaches, and there are times where I can't find a coach. So like you guys, you may not feel like you have a lot of clients, but the amount of emails I see, I guarantee I can get you some.
Well, if I can piggyback onto that, Hope, one of the things that Liz has talked about with our team is how important these town halls are, right? We want to host more of these. We want to be able to we found today that we can talk an hour on a single subject, right? A very important one, but on a single subject. So maybe we can do this in a broad sense to talk about, maybe in a couple of months, we have one on recertification. Maybe we have one on CEUs. Maybe we have some on areas of focus and workshops, stuff like that. I think we can really create some great dialogue and learn. There should never be anyone saying that we don't listen. This is really the door that opens wide for us to take in your feedback, your information. You guys are unbelievably smart and have great insights, and we will never do builds without that feedback. And so going forward, I think that's going to be really critical.
Yeah, I think, one of the goals of our department as we move forward, and why I have such talented people on my team, is to begin to create value, not only for our coaching community, but for athletes and race directors and clubs. And how do we connect you all together so you're helping one another grow and thrive in this sport? And so, Hope and I have kicked around. She's also going to be working on our membership side too. How do we create a program of maybe lunchtime, an hour of like I don't know, yoga, for lack of a better term, or a stretching clinic that a coach could host, that we could push out to our athletes? Hey, jump on and see stretching clinic by, Dave or whatever. And so we're looking for ideas like that, ways to engage. If you are interested in helping a race director with a pre-race clinic, let us know if that's something that's of interesting to you, and we can connect you up with a race director in your area. Again, we're trying to make these connections, so anything that you can help us with would be great.
And if I can add on to that, one of the ideas that I am tossing around is, how do we connect athletes with you more directly? So what I'd like to eventually get to is having a way for the athlete to contact you through the system, whether that's them indicating that, yes, this is somebody that I'd like to work with, and you receiving their information, or something along those lines, but where it's pretty immediate, other than like your email link or something. We're still working through how that can work. Need to get legal to sign off on a few things, because we would be sharing personal information, but really we're trying to create more of a community where people can come to and connect with everybody that they need to. And so we will be continuing to invest in these. And if you have ideas along those lines, please email me, email Hope, email anybody, and they'll get information over to me.
Great. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you, Sam and Hope, and all of you for joining us. This has been really great, and I echo Tim's sentiments that let's keep on doing this. Let's keep on connecting. So anything? I guess we're ready to go. Okay. Thank you all for joining us. This was really exciting, and thank you, Hope, for being the master of ceremonies for this. It's great.
Yeah, thanks everybody. As Phil Mickelson did many times yesterday on his walk to the 18th hole, thumbs up. Thank you everybody for what you do in this great sport.
Thanks everyone. And if you guys have anything coming out of this, you can email me directly at hope.smith@usatriathlon.org, or you can obviously email coaching@usatriathlon as well. And if you guys want to have another one, let us know. We can always jump on and schedule these for monthly, or if there's like a big thing coming up, we can try to do these more. But thanks everyone for getting on today. You guys were awesome. Your feedback was literally phenomenal. Sergio, you get a gold star for like a great idea today. That was such a good idea. And everyone else too. It's not, everyone had really good ideas. So thank you guys, and we'll hopefully have another one and see you then.